Hello, I'm Hazel Serrano, and today I'm going to be talking about the book I read, Dear America, Notes of an Undocumented Citizen by Jose Antonio Vargas. So a quick summary about the book. Jose Vargas was brought to the U.S. from the Philippines. He believed he was here legally like his family until he applied for a driver's license. When he was at the DMV, that is when he found out he wasn't a citizen, but rather an immigrant. After finding out, his whole life took a spin that can be considered a drastic change. So for the main settings of the book would include places like San Francisco, Washington, and New York. In San Francisco, he attended San Francisco State and worked at the San Francisco Chronicle. And in Washington, he received an internship at the Washington Post. And in New York, he moved to get the job at the Huffington Post. So for the plot of the story would be when he went to apply for his driver's license at the DMV. This is the main part where his journey of an undocumented immigrant begins. This is the plot because when he found out he had fake identification, his world turned for him. He had to figure out and deal with all the complications of being an immigrant after being here thinking he was normal. After being here thinking he was normal like the others. Moving on to the main characters, I believe these are the main characters that played a significant role. The first would be the grandparents. His grandparents were like his parents and raised him. His grandpa paid for his crossing to the U.S. And the DMV worker. The DMV worker was significant because they didn't report him for having the fake identification. That would have became a different story and outcome for Jose. And the teachers who helped him with the financial support and helped him obtain the scholarships. Moving on to the main message of theme of the book, from the book. I perceived it as sometimes lying is necessary and used for a good cause. I believe this is one of the main messages this book provides. In this case, for Jose, he had to lie about his immigration status. In order for him to have his job and follow his goal, he had to lie. It turned out for the good because he now represents those immigrants who can speak out for themselves and for others. Faking or lying on documents is something very common for immigrants. The fact that he couldn't keep quiet about what he did showed the type of person Jose is or was. He lied because it was necessary for him and for a good cause. So I chose a main quote from the book, which is, quote, I swallowed American culture before I learned how to chew it, unquote, Vargas 2018. I decided to only include this one quote because it symbolizes his whole experience as an immigrant. He learned everything and did everything an American would do. It wasn't until he applied for his license. Like expressed before, citizenship doesn't depend only on paper, but everything one does or contributes in the nation. This quote speaks volume about the way immigration is perceived. Moving on to the critical assessment, I believe this book is successful in explaining and highlighting the importance of immigrants and how it symbolizes dealing with race and diversity. I believe this book covers how diversity and inclusion affect many immigrants. This book did very well in dealing with race and diversity. Sadly, citizenship is something people classify against race and class. The discrimination that they experience is something that needs to change. Even though it is believable, I believe it has to change. Like it is stated in one of the articles we read during one of our modules in the New York Times. It states, quote, we are made to feel unwelcome here, no matter what we've done or how long we've been here, Cynthia says, who attended the protest and whose parents migrated from Mexico, unquote. Medina 2020. Like it is also stated, the U.S. in his home. Well, going back to the quote, I didn't really emphasize it, but how she states that they are made to feel unwelcome no matter what they've done or how long we've been here. It relates to Jose's experience. He's become a successful journalist and he's did everything right, worked and everything. There's times where immigrants contribute more to the nation than what citizens do. The one like status citizenship is only dependent on papers, but I think that's an obstacle many immigrants face and something that I believe is not fair. Um, like it is also stated, the U.S. is Jose's home, so he considers himself a citizen, but legally he isn't recognized as one. When he explains how he was only seen as an immigrant because he made it known, symbolizes the importance of how other people perceive you. This book is successful in explaining the differences in the world in regards to race and diversity. My uncle serves as an example to this. He was an immigrant before, but now he is a citizen. While he was at his job, ICE went to his job to take all of the undocumented. Because of his looks and his fluent English, they didn't ask him for his documents. And he was an immigrant at the time. But the way people perceive him influenced that. And this proves how others this proves how others are this proves how others are discriminated to others based on their looks. And in relation to the book, it relates to the author himself. Many people would believe he is Mexican based on his name, without knowing where he's actually from, but that only shows and demonstrates how people perceive with no prior judgment or knowledge. And yes, I would highly recommend this book.